Hello, I'm Toycat, and welcome back to the second channel geography video. This is a series where we talk about geography and the world and stuff. And today, I didn't want to just talk about any old world, I wanted to talk specifically about the New World, because I'm in the United States of America. To be specific, I'm in the New York, New Jersey region. By the way, the biggest city in that region is New York, which famously used to be called New Amsterdam. But the interesting thing is that New York is much bigger than Old York, or Old Amsterdam, and that is very bizarre because it's the newer version, but yet it blows them out of the water, and it raises the question of how many new things are actually much more populous and well-known than the old version, and I wanted to talk specifics about that today, but also I didn't want to just talk about the US, I wanted to talk about countries that have new in their name. I'm going to be listing all of them in this video, and it's going to blow your mind how many there are that do exist, so I hope you will enjoy this, but let's dive straight into all the countries of new in their name. It's a big old list, so get ready for this, because did you know, I bet you didn't know, Papua New Guinea has new in the name. And I was looking into, one of those questions that comes up, like why countries share certain things, is why there's so many countries called Guinea. Because when you look at the rest of them, I mean, there's Equatorial Guinea, makes a lot of sense, right? That's a logical place for it to be. Then there's Guinea over here, and Guinea-Bissau, and they're all in roughly the same region. So what is, and also guinea pigs are from South America, but then Papua New Guinea's all the way over here in Oceania, or Australia, if the American school system has taught you that Australia is a continent, even though it's clearly not. So in Oceania, as you can see, Papua New Guinea is named the same thing. And apparently, I was hoping this would be one of those happy things, but the apparent explanation is like, basically that when the French got there, they were like, oh yeah, the people over here, they look like those Africans, therefore this is a Guinea place, and that sounds like sarcasm, but it's not. And long story short, Papua New Guinea is named very questionably after the Old Guinea, which is in Africa, which is interesting because usually when you refer to the Old World, it's referring to Europe in particular, but actually the Old World is Europe, Asia, and Africa. If you think about it this way, right, those are the three continents. Obviously, all land has been roughly populated for some time, but those are the three heavily populated continents that have always, they're not majoritarily immigrant-based societies, and that's why when we talk about ethnicity or race or whatever, we never say like, oh yeah, I'm an American, that's so different to a European. You see the correlation there, but we see the world through three, what's the world? Ethnicity, races, whatever your phrase of choice is. There is, the Europeans or the whiteys. There is the Asians or let's skip that color, and then there is the Africans or for some reason whiteys feels like I can say it, but the other two ones I feel like I can't. But anyway, long story short, there are three major land masses that are the Old World, and then there are three major land masses that are the New World: North America, South America, and over here in Oceania. And because this is the New World and it was discovered somewhat recently, it's called Papua New Guinea. Did you know also it's got this weird history of like switching back and forth between the European powers? Also, did you know Papua New Guinea has one of those first of all, look at this. This is Bismarck Sea, so it's named after Bismarck, the famous German ruler. It's got that French history. It's got a little Spanish history. It was ruled by the Germans at one point prior to those bad things they did where we had to take away all their land. And then also, if you're looking closely here, there's New Britain and there's New Ireland, which, no offense, New Ireland, I feel like this is not an accurate representation of Ireland. Lusu number 2, more like loser number 2, am I right? New Ireland, I don't know who I'm offending here, but I'm trying my best. And then interesting enough, Bougainville is likely to be the newest country in the world sometime soon. So I think it should call itself New Bougainville Island, but that's a terrible idea. So, okay, next country that has new in the name is New Zealand. Have you heard of New Zealand? Of course you have. I'd say as far as population to world significance or world knowingness goes, New Zealand is very high up there. I'd say probably extra high in the English-speaking world. But seriously, the New Zealanders are like, there's fewer than 7 million of them, and that would be 0.1% of the world population. So less than 0.1% of the world lives here, but you wouldn't know that from the way the internet talks about it. And this is New Zealand. It's named after, famously, Zealand in Denmark, right? One of these islands is called Zealand, except that's actually a common misconception. Did you know it's actually named after Zeeland in the Netherlands, because the Dutch explorer found it, and this is my Dutch accent. It's very good and impressive, I know. Long story short, New Zealand is named after Zealand, and it's fascinating to me because unlike most new examples, take for example, York and New York. Again, they're not York. New York is not named after York the city, but York the city and It's named after the Duke of York, and the Duke of York is, for whatever reason, they decided to rename New Amsterdam to be named after York, whatever. But York to New York is a healthy distance of 3,338 miles, or 5,453 kilometers for anyone that doesn't live in New York, or this country. I'm being mean to the non-metric system. I'm glad you get it by now. But if you go from Zealand over here to New Zealand, how far do you think it is? Because it's so close, again, look, hilariously close in my opinion, to being antipodal. This is almost as far as you can get between two spots in the world. Seriously, if we go too much further that way, you can see like the maximum distance between 2 points is almost reached between Zealand and New Zealand, and I find that to be interesting. Also, I find it to be interesting how many Dutch people there are in New Zealand. It could be like sampling bias that like I went there and happened to see a lot of Dutch people, but like, you know what? Some Dutch people, maybe who even lived in Zealand, were like, you know what? I need a new start. I'm moving to New Zealand. And so now you might be like, okay, what's the next new country, Toycat? And I lied to you. There's only two. There's not a lot of countries with new in the name because it's a terrible thing to name a country. However, that hasn't stopped people naming their states. Take, for example, New South Wales. You ever go to Wales and think, this would be great, we need a new version of this? But like, not all of Wales, just South Wales. Because I will admit, South Wales is the better Wales. New South Wales is significantly better off and more populated. Honestly, better in a lot of ways than regular South Wales. And regular full Wales even. There's South Australia, which is not new. I got the South mixed up with the new bit. You know what? I feel like having 2 Australian states out of 6 that have South in the name, probably pretty questionable, huh? And then obviously the capital of naming things new is the United States of America. They are very happy with being the new world, and so as a result, there are no fewer than 4 states with new in their name. There is New Mexico, New Jersey, New York, and New Hampshire. And obviously we know New York, even the city is more populated than Old York, but I wanted to do the fun thing and compare, you know what, how populated is New Mexico compared to Mexico? So how populated is New Jersey compared to Jersey? And it turns out New Jersey has almost 100 times more people than Old Jersey. Yeah, you suck, you suck, Old Jersey. Look at you, Old Jersey, with your 119.5 kilometers squared. New Jersey is a pretty small state on the grand scheme of things, and even they have. Does Google tell me how big they are as a state? Even they have. They're the 47th biggest state, right? And still, Old Jersey is 47th biggest. Still, they have, what is that, 22,591. I bet that's miles. That better not be miles. That's kilometers. Thank you, Wikipedia, being the one sane voice. So they are... Actually, that's interesting. They're about 200 times bigger by size. Or is that not 200? Is that 20? Am I dumb? I think that is 200. No, that is 20. So they're 20 times bigger by size, but 100 times big by population. Then we got New Mexico with its 2 million population. Mexico of 127 million. You suck, New Mexico. You're letting down the team. You're letting down my point. But the most interesting one to me was New Hampshire, which has a population of 1.36 million, and regular Hampshire, which has a population of 1.376 million. It's actually like down to the rounding errors in this one, and it's really interesting to me. It's even more interesting to me that New Hampshire, if you look right here, in 2000, had 1.216 million, whereas if we look at regular Hampshire in the year 2000, they had 1.236. Oh, wait, there's a point where New Hampshire had slightly more. I'm guessing at one of these peaks. Maybe we could say 2002. Let's go with 2004. 1.293 versus 2004 over here. What's that? 1.255. At one point, New Hampshire was the better Hampshire, and they let the team down because right now it's impressive to me just how close regular Hampshire is to New Hampshire. Obviously, New Hampshire. I picked up the wrong one here. That's a point we're going to later. Don't you worry. But you know what? I can't stop talking about the best kebabs. I'm sorry, but as you can see, New Hampshire is this giant landmass over here, whereas regular Hampshire is just one county inside of the UK. Let me show you Hampshire. In fact, this is Hampshire, UK. As you can see, a relatively small area. Southampton is the big city. Is Southampton not in Hampshire? Is it separate to the county? Oh, Portsmouth as well. It's just the rural areas? That's so interesting to me. I knew Hampshire was this area. It's a very wealthy area, traditionally speaking. It's one of those areas where you move out from London and then you move over to here with all your London money, and then you're very wealthy compared to people who don't live in London. One of those fun little things. And yeah, regular Hampshire is the better Hampshire. Unlike New Jersey, I mean Old Jersey. You suck, Old Jersey. No one cares about you, Old Jersey. Yeah, you're basically France, Old Jersey. Look at that. We could talk about the Jersey news, but we won't talk about the Jersey news because instead I wanted to be more fun today, and I wanted to talk about more new names for places. So obviously before we've spoken about Nova Scotia, right? That's not Nova Scotia. It looks like Nova Scotia, but it's all a lie. This is Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is Latin for New Scotland, and Scotland getting a whole place named after itself. Pretty good, right? Till you realize that there's actually a second country, and it's going to be hard to find it. There we go, New Caledonia. New Caledonia. Caledonia is also a Latin name for Scotland. So Scotland has two New Scotlands that are actually both kind of interesting regional countries. This is a part of France. Nova Scotia is a part of Canada. But the United States is obviously the king for naming something New X. So New York is, right now, I've crossed between New York and New Jersey like 5 or 6 times now. And it's interesting because they're both named New something, right? And if you look around, you'll see a bunch more like, yeah, there's a lot of newness to all of this. But it gets more interesting to me when you head up like further north into the more suburby places. Because, people here were just running out of things to call things. They're like, New Canaan. Sure, that works, I guess. Then there's like New Haven and West Haven. What? Why is it a New Haven? I mean, at least this is an idea. Like, oh, it's a New Haven. I'm assuming it's not named after any old haven. But then there's New Britain. Seriously, New Britain. And just to clarify, the population of New Britain is 73,206. The population of Old Britain. It's been a while since I fact checked it, but I think it's higher than 73,000. Can someone confirm in the comments if Great Britain has more or less than 73,000 people? We don't have this nice bicycling infrastructure though. I'm surprised by how, like, East Coast cities in particular seem to be really good with cycling. Look at that. You can ride around this place, probably because it's a wealthy suburb and people want to exercise when they go places. They've got a Seatown town. That's nice. But it's not just New Britain. There also is the capital of New Britain, which of course, as we all know, is New London. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just like but the more you zoom in, the more you just find places that are like, yep, we're new. Oh, this one's not even new. This is just Scotland. Oh, this is what Nova Scotia is actually named after. What? Imagine saying you live in Scotland, Connecticut. It's the least populated town in Windham County. You know, that is a fun fact. I guess you don't get to say you live there, but it's really weird because as you look around, you start to realize more and more places are just, following this. Even sometimes they don't even have the new. They're just like, you know what? This is Bristol. This is East and West Greenwich. And it's like, well, it's not really East and West Greenwich, is it? And the best example, which I'll be honest, I lost on it. Wait, look at that. There's Norwich here, and then there's Lebanon, there's Columbia, but, named after Columbus, not the country, for whatever reason. Colchester, East Hampton, I'm just so confused. Durham, Essex, they're not picking any consistent level of place. Seriously, Connecticut is a mess when you look at the place names. Putnam and Thompson and Woodstock. Foster, Killingly. How did you come up with Killingly as a name? I'm assuming it's like an Irish second name. It's like, I could go to Killingly's bar, I would be happy enough with that. But the most interesting one in the region to me is New Bedford. This is one of those other the New Bedford Whaling Museum, huh? See, the problem with the New Bedford Whaling Museum and the New Bedford Art Museum, are they the New Bedford Whaling Museum, or are they the Old Bedford New Museum? And in case you're curious, because I looked it up, New Bedford is a city with a population of 95,072, which I thought was higher than Old Bedford. I was willing to, be like, yeah, this is the place. If you want to go to a Bedford, don't hop on the Thameslink trains from St Pancras. But then I looked it up, and not only does Bedford have a higher population of about 106,000, but it also has a best kebab. And in fact, it doesn't just have any best kebab, it has the worst rated best kebab at 2.8 stars that I've seen so far on my best kebab journeys. Seriously. And by the way, here's a fun little fact. There is a best kebab here on Bromham Road, apparently. As you can see, best kebab, they are the best grilled kebabs in Bedford. or so they claim. But the interesting thing to me is I have many friends who have had nights out here, and they have assured me, I've never been to either of these places, but they assure me that Best Pizza is in fact better than Best Kebab, even for kebabs. Best Kebab sells pizzas, and they're the same quality as Best Pizza, but Best Pizza does a better kebab than Best Kebab. And honestly, it's one of those weird stories where it's like, but why would they? They clearly, like, at some point were started by the same people, right? But if you look right now, they do have different phone numbers, so that they have the same branding in terms of it being green, and it's very strange. It's almost like they bought it from the same sign company. Also, they both have the same Just Eat thing picking out the side. I don't understand any of this. It's all very confusing. But did you know, if you ever come to Old Bedford, go to Best Pizza, not Best Kebab. If you ever go to New Bedford, then check out the Roch Jones Duff House and Garden, or the Price Right, or Metro Pizza. Oh, I love Metro Pizza. Oh, it's not the same Metro Pizza. There's a Metro Pizza from Vegas, which is like the best pizza. There's also the New Bedford Cove Walk, the CFC fried chicken. Honestly, we should see what kebabs we can get in New Bedford, should we? Oh, wow, that's a lot of. Oh, they're not all kebabs. None of it. New Taipei. What's up? What do you think a kebab means, Google? Anyway, so as you can see, New Bedford sucks for kebab. I can't go to McDonald's and get a kebab. There's a lot of McDonald's here, though. Maybe I should. Oh, they've even got a regional airport. Old Bedford doesn't have a regional airport, but again, it does have a Best Kebab, and isn't that just as good? Like, who needs? You fly to places to get new experiences, but really, the Best Kebab is the only experience you're ever going to need. Anyway, speaking of things that you're going to need, did you know this video is dumb? Did you know almost every video on this channel is dumb? I bet you didn't know that. And so recently, I started a Patreon. I actually had one forever, and I mentioned in a video offhandedly, like, hey, I'm not gonna use it to improve the quality of these videos whatsoever. I would like more money. And I was interested to find that people did become a patron for that reason. And I want to clarify right now, at some point, I do have some intention to make it like this isn't a whole, hey, give me money to support the thing, because otherwise it couldn't exist without your support. No. Give me money and I'll spend it on Best Kebab, or I'll spend it on a McDonald's or a Metro Pizza somewhere in New England. That is the best of the contract we can make together. And at some point, the intention is some form of weird. Again, I want it to be, rather than making the whole oh yeah, let's get some nebulous sense of well-being, I need these $20,000 a month to make a video. No, that's not what the Patreon goal is. It's give me money if you don't, if you'd like to, and you wanna feel good about supporting things you like. And at some point in the future, it's gonna be like a reward-based thing. I want it to be like, hey, you give me money, you get something in return that's not just good feelings. But for now, it's good feelings. And if you want to buy them, apparently $35 worth of people have decided to do that. So thank you to my 4 patrons, and thank you to, I guess, the internet. Thank you to, you know what? Thank you to the world for being so interesting. If the world wasn't so interesting, I couldn't make these videos, so I couldn't have done it without you, world. By the way, I think the New World, Old World distinction, it's something I think about a lot, because if you look at if we say the old world is dominated by Asia, right? 60% of the world population is in Asia alone, although Asia is very big and nebulous. When we look at the old world, the European continent is the smallest by population. But if you look at the new world, every single continent is majoritarily Europeans, right? So Europeans lost at the old world, but kind of killing it at the new world, right? Is that fair? Also, isn't it so interesting that in the old world, most of Asia was, I guess not most of Asia was uncolonized, but there's a surprising amount of Asia that was uncolonized compared to Africa. That's one of those topics I'd love to dive into for a video sometime. But what I don't want to dive into for a video is why the North Atlantic Ocean is north of the South Atlantic Ocean. Why is this not the Atlantic Ocean and this is the new Atlantic Ocean? Because I'm officially adding new to the list of things that when you have it in a country name, your country sucks a little bit. And I'm sorry, New Zealand. I love you. I love how there's a Hamilton place over here. Some would say that's wait. I'm gonna. So I love that there's a place called Hamilton in there. Let me show you why. Oh wait, before I show you, this video is over, by the way. Why are you watching it? There hasn't been a single useful fact in the last 2 minutes, and you're sticking around. What's your problem? So in case you're curious about my shirt, because I know it's been shown a little bit, in the UK, in great places like in great old places, I should say, like Colchester, the old Colchester, not the new Colchester. In great places like Colchester, in fact, the whole of the UK, you have to wear school uniform. So when I first went to college, I was like, oh god, what do I wear? And so I bought a bunch of shirts deliberately to be like, I don't even know what I was trying to achieve. Like make teachers hate me a little bit more, something like that. So this shirt is one I bought when I was 16, and I found it again recently. Knowledge, the only thing more important is money, luck, and family connections. And if you want to give me some money, luck, or family connections, then I don't know how you give me luck, actually. You know what? Give me luck in the comments, give me money on Patreon, and give me family connections by saying, thanks, bro. Wait. Give me family connections by calling me daddy. Okay, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.